Who are the top three PUAs you ever met in order?
My wingman Beckster, 15 years. He's an incredible pickup artist. Women love him. There's a commonality all the pickup artists I've met that are good share. They have a laugh track in their pickups. They make their women laugh all the way to the bedroom.
Or point to the guy that she might be looking at across the room to blow him out. Needy,
Interesting.
wanted, needed. This is what you do. This is how you do it. And these are the most common results. And I'll bring that girl into the set. And now I've got a jealousy plotline going on. And I'm the star. And, you know, like Mystery says, don't go for one and get none. Go for two and get them both. Even if you're going to hire an Airbnb for a weekend and pretend it's your house by putting up a picture of you and your, on the wall that you can carry with you in your suitcase and make it look, hey, I live here, look.
Alrighty, guys, I am here with Robert Beck, Beckster, Mystery's wingman and business partner, the ginger pickup artist. I don't know, there are several ginger pickup artists. How are you doing? Where are you calling in from?
Like Hitch, but you can say glitch, a glitch in the Matrix.
Glitch. There's
ginger hitch.
The ginger hitch. There we go. All right. Where are you calling in from?
I am calling from London. I'm based in London, born in London, home to my skills in London, and then the rest of the world later on.
Alrighty, I think that's a good place to start. So maybe I left London last year. I was living there for a good few years, on and off at some point. What are the best parts about London in particular that makes it such a hub for game?
You can walk everywhere, and everywhere is connected to a park. A park is connected to another park. People use the park, especially in the summer. They're using the park all the time. There's so many windy streets and long streets and busy streets. I mean, it is a metropolis, so it's one huge city. So I think there's constantly people you can be meeting everywhere around, day and night.
Of course.
And all types of cultures there as well. There's every type of culture. So
yeah.
you could go to a Cuban bar, you can go to a Brazilian bar, you can go to a Russian bar, and so on and so forth.
Very international city. That I forgot about that. Since I'm in Lima right now, so it's very what do you call it? Just like Japanese society, homogenous. It's very homogenous. I'm like the only white person. I was at a party 2 days ago, and it's just like a random house party. It's just Peruvians there and me. And I was about to say I am the whitest person in the whole country. And then in came a group of people, and behind all these Peruvians was a white guy. I was like, what the fuck is that? There was a white person, I said in Spanish. And I turned out he was from New Brunswick, near from where I'm from. I'm like, what the fuck? This is so strange. Am I imagining this guy, or what's happening here? Anyway, moving on.
I've been to Peru. We did Peru.
Oh yeah, Peru.
We did a boot
How long
camp.
ago was that?
I'm guessing it's going to be 7, 8 years ago. That's what I think. And we went there just for a holiday. We were doing a South American tour, Mystery and I, and we did 7 cities in 6 weeks. And it was busy, the busiest we've ever been. So we were doing boot camp, next weekend boot camp, a talk on the Tuesdays as well. And then obviously you had to fly to a new place. And we were doing loads of places in Brazil. We did Santiago in Chile. We did Argentina. And then we thought Peru would relax. There's not going to be many PUAs in Peru. We can chill out. We were there one day. We're just walking down the street, the main street. I think it was. This bus comes along, and you hear mystery like that. And then these guys, because obviously you can't miss Mystery. He's got a big hat. He's very tall, and when he doesn't want to hide, he'll let the hair go down. And so these people run off the bus and run up to us, and then just start PUAs are here. Let's do something. And then as that commotion is going on, because people are looking from all over, what the hell is going on here? another group of PUAs run up, and we get as I nicknamed, fan squashed. So we got squashed by a load of PUAs, and they were fighting factors. They didn't get along with each other. But for this, they wanted to put on an event for us, and for this one event, they all became friends. We're like, you got to be friends. You can't be arguing. You got to maintain peace. And so they all got together for this, and it turned out to be like 4 different PUA companies. I should send you the video.
I think we're going to do now. Where's the translator going?
Van a hacer una cosa. Ya van a hacer una cosa, ¿qué van a hacer?
Where's the translator gone?
I can translate.
Yeah, okay. So, we're going to get you warmed up before you go out tonight.
Vamos a calentar antes de salir de la noche.
All right? So I want you to do this. Who's seen the film 300?
¿Quién ha visto la película 300?
Yeah. So in it, they go, Spartans! Wait, now we're going to do it all together with the dog involved. All right? Spartans! You can do better than that. You all shout Spartans. And then, ready? Spartans! Now use that energy and go and get some girls.
Ahora con esa energía vayan a conquistar.
And they came with printed PUA tops, and they're like cheering for us. There was more people waiting outside that couldn't get in the building the next day when they put it on for us. And it was absolutely brilliant. So PUAs are everywhere in the world. The thing is, they just don't go, hey, I'm a PUA.
No, that's hilarious.
So the community is bigger than people think.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. It's funny because you mentioning that, I met one of those guys who was there 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I was just like going shopping down one of the main streets in what's like the most famous or high-end neighborhood barrio is Miraflores. That's probably where this happened. And there's the famous Parque Kennedy, which has a bunch of cats in the park. Everyone loves it.
Oh yeah, I know it.
Touristy spot. That's like the Oxford Street of Lima, basically, or like the Leicester Square, or the I forget the Washington Square Park equivalent of Peru. It's so funny because I was just walking down the street and I could see this guy. This guy looks like he's doing a pickup artist called approach. I was just observing, and his thing was just ending. So the woman walked away, he went the other way, and then he went back to his coach. And I was like, you guys are PUAs, accusing them of being pickup artists. And then they started talking to me in English. And the guy said he met Mystery when he was in. I was like, what the fuck? So random. That was just 3 weeks ago. But yeah, it is a thing. The other thing I'll add on to this, you're absolutely right. It's everywhere. My observation, being Game Global, since we built such a huge community, I find that the global community is kind of split between 3 segments. There's like the international English language version, which we're used to. We go to the USA, Australia, everyone speaks English. But then there's the Spanish Empire version and the Russian Empire version. It's by language. And what I found is that in the Spanish language countries and in Russia, they follow mystery method way more than they never even heard of, for example, Real Social Dynamics back in the day. It's the main influence is mystery method, and they never really heard of anything else. So that's especially fascinating because when you look at the USA, it's not necessarily only mystery method. There's so many different things. He's the spark that sparked the community back in the 2000s. But it really is genuinely only mystery method in these non-English language places. Probably because the book was translated into other languages and nobody else bothered to do that. I don't know, but that's just fascinating.
I think that helped a lot as well. Well, we know we're very good friends with Alvaro Reyes, and he's the top Spanish-speaking PUA in the world. So we've known him for about 15 years and we got on really well with him. We've met a lot of the Spanish speakers. We've done lots of events where the language is translated as well for us when we were doing them countries, like when we did the South American tour. And then we did Russia, and we would have never done Russia, and I'm so happy we did. And Ukraine we did as well. But the person that got me in to do that was one of my ex-students, Tom Torero. So he was like, "Oh, you've got to do Russia, man. It's absolutely amazing." And so he helped me get my visa, and Mystery got his visa, and we joined him there. And it was absolutely amazing in Moscow and St. Petersburg. And we got to meet loads of the top PUAs there, and we did a load of events. And it was very, very satisfying, very cool place to be. And it was huge as well, and full of obviously beautiful women. And so then we decided to do Kiev and Odessa, and we did boot camps in them, and then went back again next year and did it again. And then after that, the war hit, unfortunately. But I would have seen Mystery and I living out there for long, especially the summer, long periods of time. I mean, if you add all the time we've been there, it's probably about 4 months of our lives. It was that good. So yeah, we've seen all the different cultures, and what we were doing as well. Part of our mission at the time was, because we've been traveling the world for nearly 17 years now together, and a lot of that time was going around the world reframing a few of the PUAs that got it wrong. And they might have just got it wrong because sometimes someone would read the game or the Mystery Method book and take it as more misogynistic, and it's not meant to be that at all. You know, it's quite the opposite. It's how you should conduct yourself, if anything. You know, so we had to go through and sort of school them that it's not really like that. You shouldn't actually be, a neg is not being rude to women. You know, it's the result of a neg is a hug or a kiss on the cheek, or she playfully hits you in the arm and goes, "Oh, stop it." And then you know that the flirt is on, the game is on. It's just flirting. And it's to sort of also remove yourself from being a potential suitor right at the beginning, so it doesn't look like you're hitting on her, or hitting on her too much at least. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we had to go through that I think went wrong in translation of the book, which people call the Bible, right?
Makes sense. What was I going to say? Yeah, speaking of cultures, it's always a good opportunity anytime I'm in front of someone who's a coach, to always ask, what are some of your favorite cities around the world to do gaming? On like an international level, we got so many different places, like Tokyo. I went to Tokyo last year. What a different kind of place that is compared to, you know, the usual places like New York. In your personal perspective, what are your favorite cities, and what are the ones you really recommend for day game, night game, and so on?
Well, it depends on the season as well for me. So, for example, Scandinavia is amazing in the summer. So is London. But and also I would say, but we can't go to any of these at the moment. Obviously, Kiev, Odessa, Moscow, St. Petersburg, they were great back in the day. I would say Helsinki, Finland, Stockholm, Norway, they're great. Iceland's good, but very small. It's just so
like
small.
A population of 100,000 or something. It's like
yeah, it's like
weird.
300,000, but the capital's like 200,000. Yeah, and it gets cold quick, so you need to go that perfect 1 month. And you only want to go for a long weekend. It's too small. Everyone will know who you are pretty quickly. But also good for getting a quick social circle built up. I think they're definitely my best ones. I like Florianopolis in Brazil as well. I think that's amazing. The Miami of Brazil. But yeah, Scandinavia, Stockholm, Helsinki, and so on. London is great in the summer for the parks, gaming on the streets, the liveliness of it all. And in the winter, I go to the hot places. So Florianopolis, Bali, Tulum. In Bali, there's people from everywhere come in. It's amazing. You've got Australians, you've got the Russians, you've got the Ukrainians, you've got some English, you've got some Germans.
So everyone's
beautiful.
fighting,
and the
or
Scandinavians.
it's good vibes?
No, it's good vibes. It's good vibes. You've got the Scandinavians there. So it's a hub. What you want to find is the places that are hubs to go to, nexuses. And Bali and Tulum, they're definitely ones to go when it's cold everywhere else.
Absolutely. I have seen some videos of on YouTube where it shows like nightlife, and they compare like Manchester. They do like some guy just films the nightlife on the street and the woman
yeah, I've seen that.
passing by in like Manchester, and there was one in St. Petersburg or Moscow. It's like, what a difference. One, it has like there's a bit of obesity to say the least over here, and lots of fake tan. And then in Moscow, it's just like everyone looks like a runway model or something, and the fashion is
Yeah.
better. It's like, goddamn, the demographics are just fascinating to me.
They're into femininity in Russia, which is great. You know, men are
And-
men and women are women.
Not so much into McDonald's as the rest of us are.
Yeah, exactly. That famous Scottish restaurant, McDonald's.
Alrighty, let's jump into some questions about mystery and history. How did you meet mystery and become wingman in the first place?
Well, I'd already been gaming for, I guess, 9 years. And so I had my own company going on. And then I was also working as director and head coach for PUA training back in the day, which was the biggest in Europe. And maybe the third biggest company in the world doing pickup. I think there was obviously mystery method at the time, or Venusian arts, whatever they were calling it at the time. And there was Real Social Dynamics, RSD. And then there was us. And obviously there was Speed Seduction, Ross Jeffries, which is he was a one-man band, I assume, at the time. That's how, when I met Ross, he was a, one-man band. And there was someone that I trained up years ago, Discovery. He came on my boot camp, and then he went on to train with Mysteries company, and then became a coach there. And they were like, can you put on loads of people from London. I was also I had the second biggest club promotion company in London for VIP clubs. And I could get hold of big venues. So I took them to an Embassy club, which was a very, very cool, posh VIP club, and put on a book tour for him. So he would go there and do a talk for a couple of hours. And then loads of people turned up, maybe like 70 people. And at the end of that, it turned into a nightclub, so everyone could go gaming. And Mystery was very late coming in just because something happened on the way. He was with a girl, and I think there was he must have talked to you about this. He said on camera before. And he talked to a girl, and the cabbie accused him of something or other because the cabbie was being rude to the girl, and Mystery was sticking up for the girl. And so the Mystery accused him, the cabbie accused Mystery of something, and then they called the police, and the police took Mystery away for a little bit. Anyway, so he got out late, right? And turned up at the event just in time, walked through the door. I don't think he knew I was putting on the event. Walked straight up to me because I had some girls around me and was like, hi, I'm Mystery. And I was like, hi, I'm Beckster. And that was how it went. And I said, right, let me show you to your stage. And he was like, okay, I'm ready to go. So he did that talk. And I was on the sideline watching. So, he kept looking over, realised I was definitely the organiser. And then we had dinner after, arranged in the Embassy Club, just for a few of us. So there was 12 of us. And then we were talking a lot of game. He realised I knew game. And then afterwards, we went to the nightclub bit. I brought 2 girls over. We had a great time. We bounced off with the girls somewhere else. And after that, Misha was like, I think we should do events together. And I was like, let's do it. So that's how it basically, in a very, very concise version, that's how it happened.
Nice. What was that thing he was accused of, or like what happened with the policeman?
Well, he didn't. The cabbie just made something up. I don't know. I think he said, "Oh, he took some money or something," which is impossible in a black cab. If anyone's ever been in a English black cab, you know, with the big light on the top, it's cordoned off with plastic. You know, like hardcore bulletproof plastic. I would say you can't get into it. So it was just something that the cabbie was upset with having an argument and. Didn't like that mystery outwitted him and called the police. But, you know, he still made the event, so it was great.
Perfect. That's quite an alignment there. How did you originally get into game in the first place?
So back in the day, it was a lot more undercover, you know, and a friend of mine, Blade, we all had handle names or avatar names. Because we were on forums. That's where we all met, I guess. But even before that, I could go on a forum. This was probably 1996. I was in Leicester Square, which is a central hub of London, where everyone's gaming. And we was upstairs in a bar called the Round Table. And my friend saw that I was, you know, now and then going up, chatting to girls or saying stuff across the room in the bar. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I was trying to keep happy and jovial about it all. And he was like, I can see you're really interested in meeting women. And there was like 4 of us on the table. He goes, I've got a little secret I can tell you about. There's people that you can learn from. And what he had is a load of tapes of Ross Jeffries tapes that you have to rewind and fast forward and pause and so on. That you put in your Walkman and walk down the street listening to it. And also, Ross had his book out at the very first PUA book, I guess. I'm not sure if it is, but a very old book from the 1980s. And he was like, read this as well. This is amazing. So I was like, I love this. So I studied it a lot, and that also got me into NLP. So I'm an NLP practitioner as well. I used to teach that back in the day also, but I incorporate it into my game as well, which I think is quite important. When you need it, you know, it's there. And so I studied it like gold, like as if it was the secrets to all the universe. But before that, Blade would take me out on the streets. And the first ever thing I ever did, even though I'm known as the night gamer,
when you say Blade, are you referring to Wesley Snipes, the vampire?
That's how old it was. That was in fashion at the time. That was in the cinema at the time.
It's still in fucking fashion. That was such a good fucking movie franchise that was. Yeah. I was a huge fucking fan of it.
Hey, you came back for, what was it?
The cameo?
Yeah, what was that movie?
I haven't seen the new one. If he's not the main fucking character, then I'm just not gonna refuse. I'm just gonna refuse to watch it. It's like
they will do.
Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man for me, and Wesley Snipes is Blade. You cannot tell me otherwise. It's just
I agree
for me.
I agree. And so he was showing me how to do stuff in the street, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I found a way out. I found a way out of the Matrix. And I started doing a lot of Ross Jeffries stuff, but I'm more out at night than I am in the day. But I was both, you know. And every waking hour, I try and practice something or other with somebody. And over time, I was like, well, I need something a bit different for the nightclubs because they're higher paced. The bars are higher paced. There's more people. There's groups, so group theory. And I slowly started developing my own style, which I call now supernatural game, or I've called for the last 20 years, supernatural game. which is like semi-direct, I call it. So it lives somewhere between the middle of direct and indirect. It's cheeky chappy, but we can get to that later. And then I remember saying to Blade, "Oh, I found a forum, the LSS, the London Seduction Society. Have you ever heard of it? The LSS. It doesn't exist anymore. It disappeared about 16 years ago. And it took with it, it was like being deplatformed. It took with it all my testimonials, all the things that were wrote about me. You'd get karma points, and I had the highest karma points. And because I'd go out and, 20 PUAs would be watching me game for free. This wasn't my job. I never thought I would do this as a job. People offered me jobs straight away. They were like, could you be head coach of this company? So the first ever company I joined was the School of Seduction. It was the first UK PUA school in the world, and probably like the second or third in Europe. And there was some cool people join that. Adam joined that to do the marketing and became one of the head coaches as well. And I did that for a couple of years, but they didn't make me a partner. So Gambler came along, Richard Lorena, and he offered me head coach and director job at PUA training. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I did that for many, many years. Loads of stars were born there as well. Matt Hussey was one of my students, and now he's probably the top, most famous female teaching coach out there. He's male, obviously, but he teaches women. There was Kezia. She was my assistant for a few years, and Gambler's assistant. People would practice chatting her up, talking to her, and she would be like the B of the group, And then she went on to do her own stuff, which was a bit of a rip-off, really, just a rip-off of people's stuff, so in my opinion, and many others. And then who else? There was loads of other stars in there. Steve Jabber. And these are people that, it's like if someone had just wrote the game version of England or London, you would have so many more stars out there as we do now. But it wasn't recorded. So I am writing a book, and I'm going to go back in history and going to present that book to people so they know their history. Because without knowing your history, you're missing out on so much game and so many principles of game that will change your life. And I'm talking to coaches too, because there's so many coaches that have missed vast periods. Imagine you could go, it's like missing out knowing what famous philosophers have said. That's what it's like.
Oh my God, this is the metaphor I use. That is so perfect you said this, because like this is what I realized with the opportunities that I have with Game Global. Like we are effectively in the position to be the Vatican archives of the pickup artist industry. It's like if I do not preserve and collect the knowledge, that is like what the YouTube channel was based on, pretty much doing all these interviews, the 4-hour interview with Mystery and the many clips associated with that. We created like timelines, glossaries, all kinds of things. Like you're 100% right. That has kind of become part of my mission over time. So I'm fascinated by when this book will be.
We should swap notes.
Yeah, perfect.
I've got 27 years of history in my brain and in notes.
Oh, I am such a history guy, so I'm all for it. Let's fucking do it. What will the book be called? Do you have?
Well, I think just by learning by learning the history of pickup, you learn a very good level of pickup just by learning the history. What people said then, what were the principles then? People right at the beginning weren't out to really make loads of money in this. Everyone on the LSS was trying to help each other. So no one on there was advertising. No one. And so it was all pure gold. No one would write stuff just to make content. it would actually be gold. And that's how I live my teachings. I just want to give pure gold. I don't want to give the fluff. I don't want to give the crap. I don't want to say stuff just to look like I'm cool. You know, I don't want to say stuff to sell something. I'm going to tell you the gold, what works and how to do it and what the usual outcomes are from these things. Because that's how I'm programmed. I'm programmed old school, and there's no school like the old school.
The London scene. That's some good shit.
Well,
right there.
yeah, and also learning, you know, like I did go back after 8 years. I said to, or no, maybe I was like 5 years in. I said to Blade, I said, who's next to learn from? And he was like, a guy called Mystery. And I was like, that's amazing. So I started like checking out all mystery stuff as well. And it was brilliant. And so I was like, I'm going to meet that guy one day and he's going to be my buddy. He's going to be my best pal. And then a couple of years later, it happened. So some good manifesting skills. And by that time, I was already speaking on Ross Jeffrey's stage as a special guest. And he never had men on his stage in them days.
Interesting. I got some questions for around Ross Jeffries and NLP. Some people have noticed elements in your game similar to Ross Jeffries. Does speed seduction play an important role in your game?
Yeah, I think speed seduction / NLP as well. Yeah, definitely. You know, the gestures, the embedded commands, double binds. You know, ways of qualifying, making her feel emotions that she wants to feel at the time. Things, yeah, it's embedded in there. I wouldn't say I do it as deep as Ross would do it, you know, because I'm more playful, more cheeky. But I have my, you know, serious moments when I need to fractionate. But it's in there. It's coded in there without me even needed to think about it. I don't need to think about it. It's unconscious competence. So it's added in. And, you know, like Bruce Lee says, and I'm going to butcher Bruce Lee's saying, but it's take what is useful, discard the rest, and add what is uniquely your own. Now, over time, my uniqueness is probably 90% of my game. I'm teaching 90% supernatural game. But I still have the, you know, my elements of mystery running through it. I still have my elements of speed seduction running through it. And then a few dotted things in there, like a bit from Neil Strauss, you know, a bit from David D'Angelo, and things dotted in there. Because why wouldn't I use it? You know, I want the Batman belt with loads of Arsenal on it. I can use this, use this, use this. But really, the core is my supernatural game, yes. But I'm heavily influenced by Ross Jeffries and speed seduction, and I'm heavily influenced by mystery, you know, and mystery 2.0 as we call it now.
Yeah, one thing I wrote in a comment recently a few days ago on our school group, some guy was asking about something around the natural game versus technical game. And this person was wondering about routines. And my response was, I prefer natural game because if you take a bunch of routines, for example, it's kind of like a mold. It's a useful tool to have to practice, of course, and stuff like that. However, natural game is always molded to you. And by taking elements of the game that you relate with from other people, that is a mold more of your own personality rather than subscribing to one singular person's entire method. So that's what I have found to be finding your own uniqueness and using that, just like you said, the Batman tool belt.
You have to.
That is yours.
You have to. But I think when you're learning from someone, follow the script. And then once you've mastered the script, you can break the mold. That's how I create supernatural game. I would learn something, then break the mold, and then or bring up a version of my own style. Like one of my styles is called Octopussy Game, which is what I use for Social Circle, right? Loads of tentacles everywhere, you know, pulling the strings of the nightclub, being the energy in the nightclub, the main energy. And then what I would do is I'd break that mold and go something totally another direction to see if that worked. And then what I'd find is, oh, I can merge these molds together. For example, speed seduction and mystery method and my method, they all gel perfectly together. You know, I find that supernatural game is the lube or the liquid that gels things together very well, because you're starting on a semi-direct level. You can go to direct quickly. You can go to indirectly quickly. But going from indirect to direct, because she's that type of personality, it is a long walk, and you've already shown your cards. I'm not showing my cards. I'm fractionating. So she doesn't know does he like me? Does he not like me? She doesn't know. If I was to choose out of, I had to go direct or indirect, I'd totally go indirect. And I still go in indirect a lot of the time. I just am most comfortable with semi-direct. I find it just is smoother for getting a girl to laugh, getting a girl to like you, invoking emotions, leading, bouncing, qualifying, open loops. You know, when I DHV, she doesn't know, is this story real or not? Most of my stories are my real life, though. You know, that I've just put either a bit of NLP into it, speed seduction, or I've done some mystery method in it of how to tell a story, you know, DHV and so on. So, yeah, you have to be able to be fluid, and that's what it is. You're like Bruce Lee says again, be like water.
100%. How do you utilize and incorporate NLP and anchoring in your game?
So, all right, here's a simple one, because then we're going to be getting into a whole NLP lesson. But a simple version is, anytime you say a good attribute, you point to yourself. So, for example, if I'm doing an opener and I'll say, hey, I was chatting to my friend Alison over there, and we were discussing, is it better to be wanted or needed by somebody? What have I just done there?
You associated the words, the positive words, to yourself, and then needing this, you associate externally to yourself.
Yeah. So away from me, or point to the guy that she might be looking at across the room to blow him out. Needy, yeah, wanted, needed. Yeah. And then it's a two-part question before I go. So look like willingness to walk away and you're about to go, which is very powerful. And she may even grab you back. Hold on a minute. Yeah. So it's a two-part question before I go. Attraction or desire? And I'll trail my hand up, not touching, but near, or desire. What's more powerful? So attraction or desire, what's more powerful? And then she'll say, and I'll say, why? So I'll get her to invest, to go inside her mind and feel that emotion a bit. Is it wanted, needed? Is it attraction or desire? Feel that in her mind a little bit, because it's not an object that she can just put in her head quickly, like an iPhone or a chair. It's a feeling. So she has to feel that, even if it's slightly, and I'm in front of her, I may be doing a quick keynote and I'm chatting to her, I'm linking the emotions, I'm invoking the emotions that she's feeling while she's in front of me right now. And that way I can find that she's going to be more present, more interested in the question. And there's some emotional attachment to it, like putting down a deposit that you do not want to lose. And so, yes, I've embedded lots of that in my, what I call super routines. Why are they called super routines? One, because they're super, but two, because there are many routines linked together that builds a story or a narrative or where I'm going in the conversation, where I want it to be, where I want to lead, always be leading. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have any particular NLP gambits that you use?
Well, that is an NLP gambit. I'll give you another one. Yeah. So a big qualifier one, and I won't go through the whole qualification because it's pretty long. But one is, so it's really strange. I go, and she's like, what is? And I said, well, we've been chatting for 5 minutes now. And before I get to know someone deep inside, I've got this 3 criteria I normally go by. But I can only tell you if you're open-minded and friendly, are you? And she's like, yes. Now she's already saying yes to being open-minded and friendly, but it's also a qualification. Well, the first is, I don't like girls that wear too much makeup. A little bit's okay, but too much is too much, right? But there's a test. If you put a kiss mark here and it leaves a lipstick mark, you're obviously wearing too much. Test. There's a video of me doing this live on Channel 4 TV documentary as well. If anyone wants to see that, we can put the links up because it's better seen in person. I demonstrate it on boot camp all the time, but even better still, the students do it. So it's great. If you put a kiss in, it leaves a lipstick mark, you're obviously wearing too much. And if there's a lipstick mark, she's obviously wearing too much. So I'll be like, oh. So it's like a little fun neg. Oh, let's see how you do on 2 and 3. And I might let her pass. If she's being compliant and friendly and playing along and laughing, then there's no need to do that. You can just carry on. The second is, I like girls with good smelling hair. She might be in now the compliance ladder where she offers her hair up to smell. So you can choose to do this next bit. You can lean in, put your thumb underneath here, which is an erogenous, which is really is nice, you know, when someone touches your ears or blows in your ear, right? And rub there, and I'll lean forward, I'll put my hand up a bit, and I'll say, and that'll be a Ross Jeffries bit that I've added in as well. And then I'll move away. But you don't have to make any noise. You can just smell it and move. What I do is I move away and I rub my cheek a bit. If she's holding on to me tightly, which is an IOI, then I'll rub my cheek slightly and I'll triangle gaze, eye to lips, to eye to lips. Slowly, don't do it fast. People do this. That's wrong. It's going to confuse her and give her a headache. But yeah, eye to lips to eye. We look at lips because it induces kissing. And then I say the power word, I must. And I do a little kiss like that. But maybe I don't feel that she's interested yet, right? So I'll pull away. I'll break rapport, fractionate, break rapport. And she'll want the rapport back, which is an NLP thing. So she'll try to get your rapport back by being compliant. And I'll say the third is, the third is, I like girls with good taste in shoes. And she'll say, oh, right, cool. And I'll say, let me see. And I'll spin her. And as I spin, I say, I don't trust anyone I haven't seen 360 degrees. And then she'll laugh. And then I'll keep hold of the hand and I'll look down at the shoes and you can't really see my gestures because this camera's in a lot. So I'll throw my hand up and I'll say, but do you know why? Because good shoes indicate good taste in underwear, don't you think? And I'll throw my hand up. And sometimes they go, oh yeah, really? And they'll show it, you know. But I'm not asking them to show it. And then I'll say there's a fourth. But I only tell special people, would you consider yourself special? She'll say yes, which is another compliance, right? So I say, okay, come over here and I'll link arms and I'll go to a lock-in area where you lock in, an old school maneuver. Lock in, so it looks like she's chatting you up. She's not distracted from the world outside, right? Of the rest of the club. She's looking at you. And she's done all these compliance tests, which are fun and they lead up to bigger ones. And then I'll say, I won Best Kisser in university 2 years in a row. So I only kiss girls that are good kissers. What would you rate yourself out of a scale of 1 to 10? And as I'm saying this, I'll put her hands on my hips and let go. Right? I'll do it slowly. And if she's still holding on to my hips, she's ready for a kiss, in my opinion. But I'm not 100% sure. So, but doing all that compliance is pretty obvious, right? And this is a reason to do it, to see if she wants to kiss you, right? Otherwise, don't kiss. And I'm locked in. And so I won Best Kisser in university 2 years in a row. So I only kiss good kissers. Even the teachers voted. Even the headmaster voted. Headmistress. Right? And so I only kiss good kissers. What would you rate yourself out of a scale of 1 to 10? And she'll go, they normally say 9 or 12 or 11, right? Something ridiculous. And I'll go, prove it. And I'll go in 90%, and then they go to 10. So in that routine, there's 2 opportunities to kiss. But so much happens in it Can you see how there's so many different openers within it? And that's even the concise version. So if you do a super routine, it can last you a long time. And that's when people go, I run out of things to say. Well, if you've got 2 or 3 super openers, you can be there for half an hour and you get so much done. She's, you know, emotionally invested. She's physically invested. She's interested. She's laughed. She's maintained eye contact. There's been loads of keynotes. You've mini bounced around the room. You're different from other guys. You're looking at each other's eyes and lips and keynoting each other at the same time. And it's extremely powerful.
Interesting. That's a lot
So
of
I have loads of these. I have like hundreds.
fascinating. That is a lot of like super practical stuff right there. All I can say.
And that's how I keep it. What works? The how-to. I don't want to fluff and talk about loads of fluff for ages when I'm doing stuff. This is what you do. This is how you do it. And these are the most common results. And here's some backup things if it doesn't work, right? Because nothing is 100%. Nothing. But I do have the 99% opener, which I'll tell you another time. Because I don't want to give that one away just now.
You're such a tease.
Open loop.
I see. Okay. I got a question here from someone. While learning psychology might be the most difficult and scientific method of learning game, is NLP or mentalism the most powerful, especially with its applications outside of game?
Mentalism's great. It falls under magic, which falls under an IVD, an instant value demonstration, and they're immensely powerful. And that's why we do them. We don't do magic just to do magic. We're doing an instant value demonstration. That word was coined by Neil Strauss. So yeah, they're like, use them. What are yours? When we did Brazil, the top guy in Brazil there, he was an amazing singer. He sounds like Justin Bieber. So he'd sing into a girl's ear halfway through the set and she'd just fall in love with him. So yeah, amazing. If you can do IVDs, do them. That's like when Matador would bounce a girl home, he'd bring the guitar out and start singing to her. Now, it wasn't amazing, but he didn't have to be. And also his instant value demonstration were his guns. He was built amazingly, you know, it worked out a lot, as you can see on the Pickup Artist show. And if no one's seen that, watch that. It's amazing.
I still haven't seen it yet.
You can watch that with women. It's great. If you ever get caught being a PUA, you put on the super trailer of the Pickup Artist show, and it softens everything because it's so user friendly. It was made for women, a reality show made for women, but teaches men and teaches women about men.
I remember someone saying, I can't remember who said this, but that the fact that Mystery was such a sweetheart with everyone on the set, like because they were makeup artists and costume designers, whatever. He was just like a sweetheart, but like, you know, the associations that POAs get in the media is like greasy cold approachers doing scary digging, harassing people at this one university campus. In reality, it's like one person who vaguely knows about the community but doesn't really follow any particular person, or I don't know, something along those lines.
Yeah, I've had a lot of media on me in Finland, and reporters are always trying to interview me there. And if they don't, this is the problem. If I don't let them, they write whatever they want anyway. Reporters around the world, right? So it's a battle to try and, you know, tell them enough that they're not going to write all this. They're not going to make up stuff because all they do is Google a few things and they don't get it. So, for example, this reporter was really adamant that people near this big shopping mall were gaming, were doing pickup around this shopping mall and hassling girls. And what it turned out to be was some foreigners there that were just asking girls for Instagrams. And they assumed these were PUAs. They weren't PUAs at all. They were like, were you doing a boot camp around there? But no, you wouldn't know we're doing a boot camp somewhere. That's how we teach. You're not going to know we're doing a boot camp. Just going, normal kids going up and asking for some girl's IG does not make it a PUA. It makes it a normal kid, a normal guy, you know.
Yeah.
It's just stupid, ludicrous. And you know, I think pickup, and this is quite important. I tried to tell them this on the latest interview, and then every documentary I've made, and I've made about 15 of them, like been on 15 of them. I've said that it saves life. It saves lives. You know, it could have saved mine for all I know. You know, how depressed would have I been in some relationship I don't want to be in? You know, if I didn't learn pickup, I feel like it would save my life. You know. And even the best, you know, a lot of really good PUAs that were teaching for years that know it saves your life and knows that it helps you get over a lot of your trauma, maybe childhood trauma from bullying or being outcasted and so on, teased and rejection or bad family life or whatever. It helps you break free of that. And even still then, we still lose PUA teachers to suicide. That's how strong it is. Imagine the people we don't hear about that are just learning pickup or have never heard of pickup that have died because of rejection, because of bullying, because of trauma, being too scared to get outside their comfort zone and live their life and speak to who they want to speak to. And, you know, they could be missing out speaking to their future wife because they don't know what to say or what to do, or have been rejected so much that they can't walk across a room and say something to somebody. So, you know, we've lost poor Tom Torero, we lost Johnny Berba, and I lost a friend a long time ago that was also became friends with Ross Jeffries, called Christopher Burke. And I lost 3 friends. Imagine the people that we don't hear about. And I'm sure there's been many more suicides in the community that we've heard of that I haven't heard of.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's crazy because simply one way I think about this is learning something like this. It's such a skill that applies to a lot of things. However, just like taking the very basics of it, the ability to have your own options in dating, whereas so many guys go into marriages, perhaps even with a woman who has kids from a different relationship, and then they end up being depressed because they don't have their own children. This is just one random example. But this is over and over again. So many divorces happen. This ever increasing divorce rate in a lot of countries. People need options, and if they run out of options, then they're in their minds. Sometimes they only see one option, and that option is a very defeatist, suicidal option, which never ends well, of course. But having options is such an overlooked thing. And being in this gives you the power to enable yourself to provide those options for your own life.
I'll give you a quick algorithm that I've come up with for anyone starting out in pickup, because it can be overwhelming. There's so much to learn, and there's so much rubbish to decipher as well there, where you're like, that's never going to work, and these people are just making stuff for the sake of it, you know, where you need to now navigate through that to see what is real, right? And it's just simple. If you want to get out there and you want to learn pickup, right, it's mode. It's not mood. It's not feeling the right time to go out and pick up, because you'll be waiting a long time for that. And there's going to be a lot of Dutch courage drinking going on to do that. And you don't need to do that. What if you get in the mode, so you get your openers ready for that day that you're going to go out and practice, right? Just think of it as practice. And you go out there, and when a good set hits, or you do enough sets that you don't get the AA fear, because you're like, oh, I don't care. Remember, all you're doing is saying the routines, right? Now that mode, when a good set hits, turns to mood. Oh, I'm in a good mood. And if you turn to your friend, do you want to go home now? No, I'm in a good mood. I want to do more sets. I want to see what's happening, right? And it gets easier and easier the next day and so on. So the mode equals the mood equals the abundance, because then you kick into abundance mentality. Because if you start doing this for many months or a year, you're going to have lots of contact details. If you're always practicing closing at the end, ABC, always be closing, right? So if you're practicing that, you're going to get good at that as well. But also you're going to be getting a lot of people coming out with you that you can invite out the next week and the next month, right? And build up your social circle. But you need cold approach first. And then what you will do, abundance equals choice, right? So mode equals mood equals abundance equals choice. And choice is happiness, right? So all the way from mode to happiness. So it's the Mack method, right? Mode, abundance, choice, Mack. So you can be a Mack.
Yeah. You mentioned
a Mac Daddy.
McDonald's.
Return of the Mack.
God damn it.
Return of the Mack. Do you know what a Mack is? A Mack is different to a PUA. Not that I'm a Mack, but do you know what a Mack is? Different to a PUA.
What's that?
So a Mack is someone that is more on the misogynist side, I guess, where he will date women so they facilitate him in many ways. You know, do things for him. So there's a thing where you go, you just need a woman with 5 things, right? And it's one that helps around the house, one that makes you laugh, one that's good in bed and likes sex, and what was it? And one that is respectful and honest. And you want to know the 5th?
What's number 5?
And make sure none of them ever meet.
Well, that's
so that would be a Mack saying. Yeah, that brings you what a Mack would think like.
I see.
So a Mack is different. There was a book that came out called The Art of Macking a long time ago. Very, very long. It's like 25 years old.
I didn't even know.
So that's where that song came out of, Return of the Mack.
Oh, okay. That makes sense now. Yeah. There I was thinking it's just him talking about McDonald's or no, I'm just kidding.
No.
So I don't know. That's new to me.
So there's different forms of PUAs, just like there are in the actual PUA community.
Yeah.
You know, there's marketing PUAs. There's PUAs that don't approach, and there's PUAs that do approach.
Armchair PUAs.
There's different, and some are married, some aren't married, so they're coming at it from different perspectives. You know, some have open relationships, some go out gaming with their girlfriends. You know, it's different scenarios.
Yeah.
And I've lived a lot of the scenarios of like having girlfriends that you go out gaming with, and obviously doing it solo, doing it with wingmen, doing it with a group. There's different types. There's social circle game. There's running the nightclubs, which is social circle game, which is what we call promoter game back in the day. You know, and even Tom was helping with that. And he's day game mainly, but I got him into the nightclub game for a while, for a couple of years, and we really had good fun doing that. You know, you get bottle service, you get paid for every girl that comes in. So it's a different type of game, you know. But I think the real honest, the real true game is the cold approach. And being able to do it on your own without anyone around, or with a wingman, but doing it on your own in any scenario. You can't bring your social circle everywhere you go, right? You're not bringing them all on holiday, not like Dan Bilzerian where they can all fit in a plane. I want to know that it's my skill that did it. And it's still fun to do social circle game here and there, right? But I want to know that it's my skill that did it. She wants me because of me.
We got to get you on some debates.
You can do false social proof. So I'll walk in a club and I'll pretend to wave at people, that the hot group in the corner, you know. Or I'll say, hey, I was chatting to my friend Alison over there and we were discussing, is it better to be wanted or needed? And I'll just point to a girl over there.
Let's see.
You can even open a set and then say to that set, hey, I like that girl over there, to show disinterest here. I like that girl over there. What shall I say to her? And she'll tell you some rubbish like be yourself, or just go and say hi, or offer her a drink or some rubbish, which you don't take into account. And then I'll use that 3 criteria one that you said, for example, and I'll go in and I'll say, hey, I was just chatting to my friend Alison over there, and I'll wave at the girl I just chatted to. So that girl will wave back and give me social proof. And then I'll say, and then I'll do the 3 criteria, and they'll see this girl like kissing my hand, you know, spinning round for me, showing her shoes, and so on. And then I'll say, hey, let's come and meet my friend Alison. Let's make some friends. And I'll bring that girl into the set. And now I've got a jealousy plot line going on, and I'm the star. And, you know, like Mystery says, don't go for 1 and get none, go for 2 and get them both. So
you're such a Mack. God damn it. You mentioned Tom Torero a few times so far. What can you tell us about Tom Torero? And of course, I wrote this question a while ago. Now there's also Johnny Berba. So what can you tell us about Tom Torero and Johnny Berba?
Well, Tom was a very good friend of mine, and he came to me like through the LSS, the London Seduction Society. He came to me through there, as a lot of people did, and was like, right, I've reached the level I've got to. I want to go to the next level. Can you teach me? And he came with another guy called Anthony, or Rocky, I think he called himself, on the forum. And they were very good, and they were going out together as wingmen in the day. Before that, they were doing solo, and they were really, really going out all the time, which you should do to practice at the beginning. And so I just took them under my wing, and they became such good friends of mine. That's why we started running the clubs together. I was like, oh, you should do some nightclubs with me too. And, you know, not only do day game, because if you do night game and day game, you're going to get better at pickup. But if you only do one or the other, you're not going to improve too much. You can't get to next level, basically. And what he did is he broke down pickup in a very digestible dummies guide to pickup. You know, he would do the mystery method, he'd do my supernatural game, and a few other bits here and there, and really make it step by step user friendly. And he used to teach at Oxford University, which is the top place in England. And so he knew how to speak. And we used to go around the universities doing our talks, me and him. So that was pretty cool, because you'd have women in the audience as well. You'd have professors in the audience, psychology. And I remember a lot of time the professors wanted to test me, and some of them were quite old, test me on my skills, thinking like, I must be making this up. So I would say, hey, just come on stage. And there's videos of all this, by the way, that on my YouTube channel, the Beckster lifestyle. And on that, you can see lots of different of things I'm talking about. You know, back in the day, old history videos that I tried to put up. But whenever I put a history video up, some people are like, why are you putting up old footage? Because it's history. That's why you don't want to lose it. It's ridiculous to say that. No. It still works. It's like an old song. It still gets the girls on the dance floor. You know, but we modernize every boot camp. There's something new. My notes on pickup, right, are ridiculous. So, for example, I have 1,000, you can't see it. I have 1,545 notes. Each of them, let me pick one. So if I go to Super Game 2, you really can't see it. I'll lower the camera. There. It goes on, right, forever. Look.
Yeah, damn.
It goes on. And I have 1,500 notes on ridiculous amounts of things I'm always putting on. Not enough type to make into an ebook or so on. I'll get there eventually, but I need a team around me to get this totally coded. But so we're updating all the time. But the old stuff is the principle, and it still works. Like, don't lean in, and so on. But yeah, with Tom would come up with very convenient things to do as well, which were logical. He was very logical, so he could put it into bite sizes, understandable. Because sometimes I would go too advanced, or mystery would go too advanced. And you're like, you need to be able to make this digestible for people to understand. It's like the most watched stuff on YouTube in pickup is the basic stuff. And it's like, why is it the basic stuff? Because it's where most people are starting from. Because this movement, I think, is growing massive. And I think Tom was a great help for that, a great help for the movement. And I did a memorial talk, and it's not on my channel, but it's on YouTube if you put Tom Torero Memorial. And I did a talk for him there, which is about an hour long, and there's some other speakers. So you should watch it, because Tom is someone that you should bring into your life of pickup, and you can find him on his, he has a channel that I think his family are keeping going. And there's some really, really good things to listen to there if you're to demystify game and really take it, so you can take it step by step. You know, he was one of the good guys in pickup. Johnny Berba was also one of the good guys. He would be more theory game, you know, and approach anxiety and don't worry about what people would say and so on. Different to Tom, but they're both day gamers, both heavy day gamers. So yeah, it's a big loss losing both of them people.
100%.
And did you ever speak to either of them?
No. When this was announced at the end of 2021 that Tom Torero died, I heard the name and I saw the name in the Game Global community plenty of times, but I didn't know the face. So I never knew like what the guy looked like or where he was from. Maybe he was probably from London or something, but I didn't really know anything about him. And then as for Johnny, that was only a few weeks ago that he died, but I was aware that he had a YouTube channel, but I never communicated with him. I did end up like accidentally stumbled upon one or two of his live streams, but I never really got into it because I don't really watch a lot of YouTube anyway. So that opportunity was kind of missed to at least interact with him. I could have, but I never actually got to know either of the guys.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know Johnny that much, but he came to a few of my talks, and which you can also find, and I brought him on stage, and he was chatting away there, and you know, this was like 15 years ago, so you know, a lot of that's what I'm saying. A lot of the history, especially of Europe and London, have been lost, and yet it was its own game going on there. You could literally write the whole game again, but through London. And the stars that were in London and the people and the things that happened, it was crazy. And there were wars going on in the middle. And we were running, like, load of PUA started running nightclubs. And it was just crazy, crazy competitive. And London became one of the, if not the main hub of pickup for a very, very long time, like 15 years. And, you know, we had a PUA house in the central London, Project London. And that was amazing going on. And just the history is will be a great read. That's for sure. And maybe I'll do a few videos talking about it here and there. But yeah, it was like so much going on, but on the other side of the pond, you know.
Plenty to talk about.
At the same time, the game was happening.
Like we got a page on a website called Game Houses, so I don't have Project London on the map. This is like historically the game houses that have existed, like Project Hollywood. So we got to talk later and put that on the map for the sake of history. That's what I've been doing
Project
for a few
London now,
years.
but yeah.
I was part of one a few years back, for 2 or 3 years maybe. Yeah, it's so much to talk about. It's crazy.
Yeah, we won't. There's no way we're going to fit this all in one podcast.
This is going to turn
too
into
much.
Like
There's too much.
5 or something. Next question then. What are some good little things to have while out doing the game, like tools? In your most recent video, you used a scarf as a lasso and a bunch of star stickers. What are some other examples?
Have you ever remember the little? Do I have one? The little fish that you would get in a fortune cookie, and it's like a red fish, and it's a fortune telling fish, and it says miracle fish on it. And I'd pull that out. God, I've got mum to show you on handy, but and I do carry them a lot of the time, and I give them to students on boot camp. And you can pull it out, and it's heat. It's like a heat thing. So you put the fish on the girl's hand, and it will start raising in different ways. And when you flip it over, it gives you 5 examples, like head and tail moving. Passionate? Are you passionate? Or curls up entirely, in love. And I'm like, oh, slow it down, speed racer. We don't know each other. I need trust, comfort, and connection before we go that far. We've only got lust. You know, so that all the things that happens on it, I've got a gambit to reply to. One is it doesn't move, dead one. It jumps off you, false. You're being false. And so on. So that's a fun gambit. And girls will start queuing round, like gathering around you to have a go. You know, they love anything to do with reading palms, fortune telling, so on. So they'll be like, do me, do me. I'm like, do you? I don't even know you. But they're great to isolate. You can take a girl's arm and isolate her over and say, okay, I'm going to do it over here because I need a bit of quiet. You know, it's amazing. And you can get them really cheap. So they're just fun. What was fun when you were 5 or in grade 5 or whatever it was is fun again. So you can be silly. Women want to be silly. Men are either trying to be too cool like James Bond, or they're just scared or awkward. But if you have freedom from outcome and you just pull out a fortune-telling fish, have you ever had your fortune told by a fish? You know, and I take it out of the packet and I pretend to hit it on a table. Yeah, okay, now it's ready. You know, like, because I pretend it's flailing around everywhere. Then I do the mystery one where I go, what's that? And they're like, what? And I pretend to look at the lines in their hand and I go, oh, dirt. Like that. And then there's a little neg, but they laugh. And when they laugh, I say, it's good that you laugh. It means you've got a sense of humor to go with your looks. And then they like that and they laugh again. And I go, see? And then I put the fish on them. I move them around. I can feel the pulse going higher or lower as well on the hand. Little trick, extra trick, if they're interested. And then I'll play that game and I can get really close up to them sideways and start reading it. And then I'll put it away and I'll say, this fish is for you, but I want him back at the end of the night. You can look after him. Where do you want to keep him warm? And, you know, they're like, and I give it to them and put it in their pocket or whatever. And so that's a gambit. The star system, which is just a load of gold stars, you know, which you've seen. You can check that on my latest video because that's a long one to talk about. But that is amazing. And that gets them to qualify themselves to you, perform for you. They're fighting with other girls, not literally fighting, but it's happened. Fighting with other girls to get stars off you, to win gold stars, which they want dotted around in random places that they've chose. And it's great because when you walk around a club on the boot camp, these girls are walking around with stars all over them, and you're like, I know someone's gamed her, I know someone's gamed her, and
yeah, damn. There's one of my general's daddy's little star. What the fuck?
Yeah. So it's 1 star, you have my interest. 2 stars, you have my attention. 3 stars, you have me. But do you know what 5 stars means? You work in McDonald's. But the update is you work in Uber. You work for Uber. So yeah, there's star system and they want that. And that's fighting for you. They're trying to win the stars to win you because you've already told them what the star system is. It's a bit more long-winded than that, but yeah.
That gives so many ideas. Like if I could give them, like, let's say they earn 3 stars, okay, you're my best friend for the night kind of thing. So many like ways you can structure this. Just like you're giving them medals.
You can make your own words in it. Yeah, you make your own words in it. So, and you can take away stars. I rip them in half and say that's only half a star. I have small stars at the top, big stars at the top, small ones at the bottom, and I go, now you've won a 2nd star. Let me see. And I'll go from the big ones all the way down to the little one. I go, there you go. And they're like, why do I get a little one? You know, that's great fun. And it keeps me entertained as well. I'm very self-amused. Being self-amused is attractive to women because it's like you're not trying to get something out of them, right? When you're trying to get something out of them, they know this, you know? So, you know, a man doesn't try and, a boy doesn't try and No, let me get it right. A boy tries to take from you, a man gives to you, which is the metaphor of give value. Don't take away value, give value.
Yeah. Well, one version I remember from back in the day is I used to have Snapchat spectacles, and that just like fascinated people because it was rare. It was relatively expensive. That part doesn't matter. It's just like the fact that you
That's
can have
great.
fun with it because you can press the button at the top and it'll record 10 seconds at a time. And if you tap it 3 times, 30 seconds. And then everyone wants to go wear it and stuff like that. That was one of my things that I
I've got the
remember,
meta
perhaps a
ones,
few others.
the meta record ones.
Oh yeah, that's the new version.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
pretty
would
cool.
be same kind of thing. But those are probably less obvious, maybe because they're kind of like Ray-Bans or something. So they kind of look normal, whereas the spectacles for Snapchat, they were like weird looking, circular and a very distinctive style.
I had light up glasses as well. You can get them on
Oh yeah,
Amazon.
that
You get
used to
all
be
this
one
stuff
that
on it.
I used to
Yeah.
have light up shoes. I remember that.
Oh,
I'm
brilliant.
remembering
I
all
would have
these
I
things
would
now.
have if I would have found some, I would have bought light up shoes for sure.
Yeah, you got to ship them from China. That's the secret.
Yeah. All this stuff's from China, yeah. With the light up glasses, girls would try to physically run up and try and take them off me. I'll be, hey, don't touch. Like I need trust, comfort, and connection before we get up fast, sort of thing. But they would attract women from across the room running up, and I want to try them on. They're amazing. So yeah, anything that lights up, anything bright and colourful, it attracts women like magpies. So use it. And they're props. Yeah, I used to wear them sometimes just lit up on my neck, when you put your glasses in your neck. So definitely loads of props are important. A scarf, you can do so much with the scarf. You can lasso them in. You can do the magic trick that a mystery does. I won't teach it. That's his. And a million different magic illusions you can do on that. It's brilliant. Yeah, I like to do the limbo where I give it to a girl and then I get people to start coming under the scarf, or you can use your belt as well, which is slightly more sexual. And then you get people to come under it. You want your wingman to start it off so it really gets other people going under it because it's getting that first person under it. But then the whole club nearly has gone under it, and some girls multiple times. And now you look like the main energy of the club. You've met nearly everybody. And the girl that seems to fancy you the most will eventually run up, grab your side and say, your turn, you have to go under. So yeah, you meet the whole club by doing the limbo routine.
No, the funny thing is, I was just talking, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, how viral, it wasn't limbo, it was the conga line we were talking about, similar thing, where in the club, how viral, how easy it is to make a conga line. And then like 2 days later, I was at some party and it happened and everyone was involved, even the old people. I was like, what the hell? What a crazy coincidence. I was like, I haven't seen a conga line in years. What happened to those? And then 2 days later, it happens.
Well, when I was working at PUA training like 20 years ago, one thing that we did to get the students outside their comfort zone was, when you do the hokey cokey, have you ever heard of that? Is that an English thing? Where you all hold hands in a circle and then you run in, you go, oh, do the hokey cokey, and you run in, sort of bang into each other. But you run out and then you put your left leg forward, your right leg forward, you do the hokey cokey, and then you turn around, you let go and you turn around, and then you clap, and then you hold hands again, and you go, oh, do the hokey cokey, and you run in. And the idea was to get as many people in a very busy area of Leicester Square, which is a vast area that you know what it is, where you can run in and people are everywhere. And we used to get that circle about 50 people big. It was amazing. These random people just kept grabbing, holding hands, running in, people filming it everywhere. It was absolutely amazing. And afterwards, you're outside your comfort zone. So it's great. You can approach like that.
100%. Is the mystery method outdated?
No, of course not. Again, it's the principles. You need the principles. There's some things that you need to sort of update, like leaving a voicemail is leaving a WhatsApp voice memo. right? It's not Skype, it's Zoom, things like that. But it works. There's no, Mystery 2.0. Remember, we put so much more new stuff onto it. So, yeah, totally works. So does speed seduction. But different environments, I think, for both of them things. One's more nightclub and bars and parties, and one is more like day game and single sets.
Yeah, that was
not always, that's not the rule of both, but it's the majority of both.
Now it's like a key difference in the debate between Ross Jeffries and Mystery. So like Ross prefers dealing with one person, and then Mystery is like, we gotta have groups, man. We gotta have fucking groups. It was fucking hilarious. What are some of Mystery's greatest
I live in the
teachings?
middle, semi-wrecked. I live in the middle of everything to do with all the theories and games.
Always in the middle. What are some?
No, well, I find that if you move, you can move to any part of game a lot easier. That's why it's supernatural. I'm not just focusing fully on routines. I'm also the natural part of super. The super's the pickup artist. This is what I noticed when I was running the top nightclubs, because I was dealing with the so-called naturals, right? Which still had their own sort of scripts. They just didn't know it, and they didn't know what they were doing wrong either. But the top PUAs would also, that I saw in London, and trust me, London PUAs are lethal. And the top naturals, promoters, social circle game, because that's what they are, would be here, and they're level with each other. You're right. But what I did is I took I modeled the natural stuff. And obviously you find the natural stuff more by being in the presence of beautiful women in these VIP clubs and having to deal with them all the time. But I was already an MPUA by then. So what I did is I merged these two things together. And by doing that, my skill set went out the roof. And then I started teaching that to people, and their skill set would go higher than, at that time, MPUAs, and at that time, naturals. So you would, because you're using both methods merged together in such a precise way. So you can feed off hooks. You can be, you can be observational, situational. You can use comedy to the right effect. There's all these things you can do in the natural side. And so the 5 things I spotted that these naturals had was confidence, congruency, calibration, conviction, and courage. And if you add all them to your game, you can be pretty lethal, right? Without learning the pickup side. However, you do need the pickup side, right? So then you learn all the, well, I would go with learning the pickup stuff first to give you the mode and mood to get the abundance, right? And the choice going on. And then you can start incorporating this. You can't incorporate this first. You can't, or you just won't know what you're doing. You incorporate that second and you merge it together to get a higher skill set, supernatural game. And Mystery said he's supernatural as well. So, it's definitely a powerful thing where you have more things under your belt to use.
I see. Interesting.
Like super routines.
Super routines. What are some of Mystery's greatest teachings?
Loads of stuff. Being indirect is way better than being direct. He's great routines. He's got IVDs forever. Using his magic illusions is so powerful. He's the best at commanding groups. He can command groups. The things that he said, like speak slower. I speak too fast. Speak slower. But I speak way faster when I'm on interviews than I do when I'm in set.
That's the interesting thing, because I realize, because I do all these interviews and I still edit the videos myself, and YouTube Shorts, I now have that more automated. What I would see the difference, or hear the difference, but also see it in the editing, the ways that people are speaking. So I found Mystery has a lot of pauses, lots of, I don't know how to explain it. And then you and me, we're just like blah 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 blah. And then Russ Jeffries, he uses a lot of crazy pauses, but he can flow for a long time.
Yeah.
I could just see the difference between every single person I have ever recorded on Zoom and in the footage, like how people are speaking. And that's what I noticed about Mystery. He has a lot, he speaks very calmly and a lot of
Yeah.
pauses, like every few words.
And it
It's kind of
draws you
funny.
in. It draws you in. But you need pauses, you know, and the right cadence. You know, don't speak monotone because it's really boring and women will find disinterest. That's why I body rock naturally, as you can see. It keeps the interest going. That's why then we bounce and lock in with them. But if you're still all the time, it's really hard to keynote as well. So all of a sudden you try to keynote and they're freaked out. Oh, that's out of context. So be congruent, one of the C's. But yeah, I try to slow it down as much as possible in set, for sure. For sure, it's very important. Mystery's peacocking works amazing. He's got this new coat that we picked out when we went shopping last, and it is probably the best peacocking for women just coming out going, I love your coat. Can I have a hug? You know, they want to hug him. Also, if it's not particularly that furry, but he's had big furry ones before with the top hats on. And girls that also have furry coats will run up to him, like in Vegas, go, I want to hug you. You know, and he can open it up and put them in because he's so massive and hug them, keep them warm.
In Vegas, that's going to be overheating.
Oh, dude, Mystery is built for Vegas. He's built for Vegas. That's why we're doing one this year. We love Vegas.
Crazy place. No, it's funny. I went to on Christmas just 2.5 weeks ago. There's a Peruvian tradition called Tacanequi, and it's basically it's more like a Native American mountainy thing where it originates from, and it's where men against men and women against women fighting each other. They just punch each other in the face for like 1 or 2 minutes, and it happens on
Is that
Christmas.
not called marriage?
It's a like 1 minute version, but it's men against men, women against women. But
Right.
yeah, essentially, it's hilarious. When people were turning up, I was like, "What the fuck are these outfits?" I was like taking photos and videos, and there was a guy with a bird on his hat, a dead bird, and he just put it on his head, and that is his hat. I'm like, what the fuck? And a few days later, I sent a photo to Mystery, and it's like, what do you think of this peacocking? It's like a literal fucking bird. Like, you shit on me again, I will kill you and use you as a hat. And then if a bird shits on me, you're the one that gets shit on. It's so fucking random. It's just the funniest thing I ever seen. But the outfits they wear, it's like, holy shit, they really put some effort into this. Yeah, it's like that Peruvian peacocking, and then they punch each other in the face. It's crazy.
I advise anyone that's never tried peacocking, just try it. If you want attention, women will come up to you. They will come up to you doing it. And even if they say weird stuff, they like you. You would, like Mystery says, you wouldn't go up to a bum and say, you need to dress better, you know, or I hate your shoes. You know, you wouldn't do that. So, you know, it just means that they're interested in you. And then you can talk about it. You know, he has the nails painted sometimes. Black, I might add. And it just, I don't know, he has some amazing skill sets. He's got great routines. His way of saying stuff draws them in so much that when he's using his stories and his routines, they're invested in it. And that's what you want. You want someone invested in your stories. I find that men don't practice their stories that much. You know, stories are very powerful tools. And if you get his DHVs in them, you know, leader of men, protector of loved ones, willingness to walk away, willingness to emote, but, you know, all tribal leader, then when you're embedding all this into your stories, they're captivated. You know, they're interested, and interest makes attraction. So yeah, it's great touring around. You know, we have a great laugh. Our methods merge so well. It's great. You know, I use some of his, he uses some of mine. So yeah, we've seen a lot of the world many times over.
Interesting. At your level, what's the most challenging aspect of game for you?
Finding the hot ones. That's always the challenge. Where are the hotties? You know, that's why I started running clubs for such a long time, because you know, they'd all be in a room with you. You can, you know, thank promoters like I did for bringing them there. I actually hosted the nights though. I took the whole nightclub. So there was a nightclub called China Whites in London, and it was a celebrity nightclub. Yeah, every celebrity would go there. You know, Leo, everyone. And you have an opportunity to game celebrities and invite them back to after parties that I would have as well. So it was really, really good. And on Saturday night was my night for many years. I'd have the main table in. I'd bring 110 girls. They said you can only bring 100. I say I do things 10% better. So I bring 110 girls every night. I had other PUA promoters with me, bringing them in as well. 5 to 10 sometimes, but mainly 5 was a good number. So there'd be 6 to 11 guys, and the rest were all girls. And I'd have the main table that would fit like 20 girls, and then there would be girls standing around that, and many free drinks coming in all the time. And then I'd have a table that fit 5 people in the VIP room, where I could take, you know, my best girls into, and the celebrities would be in there, and they get rushed in the back way as well, which is the VIP room. So that's another thing you can do when you start building the abundance of pickup. Abundance is real, right? You can start building the abundance of pickup. You can grow your parties. You can grow your social circle game, but you must learn cold approach first. You must learn tried and tested pickup first. That works from the best in, you know, the best PUAs that are out there. You must learn that, and mainly it's the old school.
Oh, here's a good question. What are some things you learned from other figures like Owen Cook?
Owen's a really good friend of mine, and I recently just came back from his house in LA, and I'm really, my heart goes out to all the people in LA at the moment. I've got so many friends. It's like a second home to me there. I absolutely love it. One of my second homes. And I was staying in, he actually gave me his room. He was away, and he gave me his room for 10 days. He's got another place, and he would come in and chat to me and so on. Every now and then we'd hang out and go to clubs and so on. And what I learned from him is his outlook on life is always positive. He's always trying to be positive. He would always have another idea of how you could do something in such a positive aspect. The guy can talk forever. He's brilliant. He could just talk forever. And yeah, he doesn't let any of sticking points get him down. He just keeps going at it, and he's, you know, he's built a big community as well, which is good for the pickup scene. And so for me, if I'm going to boil it down to anything, it's his positivity. I love it. I love his positivity.
100%. Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
Obviously his head is totally coded with pickup, totally coded. So he's one of the old school for me.
What's your perspective on the red pill thing?
You know, I only really learned what that was when we were getting interviewed for a documentary for Amazon Prime, which we have 2 on there, by the way. And I said to the woman interviewing us, who was following us around the world for 3 years, I said to her, "What is this red pill?" And she had to explain it to me, and I still probably don't know the bullet points. But I guess it's being negative towards women. Is that what it boils down to? How would you boil it down to me?
Some people associate it with that, but essentially my understanding of it is it's taken from the metaphor used in the Matrix. There's red and blue. The blue pill is ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. And the red pill is I would prefer the knowledge and how I can use that for my life. So according to Rollo Tomasi, who's considered the founder of red pill, I guess,
Yeah.
It is basically the understanding of intersexual dynamics, blah, 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 and what you can do with that information to actually improve your life. I'm kind of butchering it a little bit, but
Cool.
where I think there's a lot of content there are a lot of red pill podcasts and stuff like that, and they interview women, and some of these women tend to have like OnlyFans and whatever, and then they just grill the women, and that has become this whole popular thing now. But yeah, it's kind of uh, I had a better way of putting it before, but it's attempting to, or at least Michael Sartain had a great way of explaining this. Pickup is offense, and red pill is defense, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's like getting women, that's pickup. Keeping a woman or something along, or choosing the right one, maybe that's red pill. Something along those lines.
Right. I guess I'm in the middle then. Again, I'm semi-direct. You know,
But,
of
you
course you
know,
should have the knowledge. Of course you should have the knowledge. But what you do with it is the most important thing. Now, I don't hate women at all. I love women. I love Mystery loves women. I love women. So, yeah, we are doing stuff. A lot of the game is stuff rewired from what we've heard in set that works, that women do on men, you know, like that to keep. So we try and keep them in their comfort zones as much as possible. You know, I'm not going out there to hurt anyone's feelings, to be rude, to be male chauvinist. I'm not. I want them to actually have absolute fun. But obviously, if they step the boundaries, I'm going to call them on that, you know, and I'm going to say what I want in a criteria, as you heard already, you know. So I'm going to be saying what I want, and I'm going to be letting them have an opportunity to say what they want too. So I believe in some of it, the red pill, then, if that's what it is, and some of it I don't.
it's a whole rabbit hole that's kind of
I
different.
bet that's why I've not really gone down it that much, but I guess
Yeah.
I should at some point.
What would your first steps be?
We were on Michael brought on a Rolo Tomasi
right.
on a podcast we were doing, but he was only on for a short period of time. And also Owen Cook told me to listen to both his audiobooks, which I did twice. Well, the first one twice, second one once. So yeah, I sort of got a rough idea, but you know, that was a while ago. So I sort of get what you mean. Yes. So I'm not going as deep as that on things. I'm not like, well, she said this, so I'm going to do this, that, you know, and I'm going to call her on that just for the sake of calling her on it. I'm not going to do things like that. You know, I want to keep the game as fluid as possible as I can, but I am going to qualify them for sure.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. There's a lot of you said it, like they say call her out on that behavior. Like, what is your version of this? Because I don't see this in like associated. It's like, is that even a thing in our bubble? I don't know, like call out her behavior.
Unless she's rude, unless she's really, really rude for no reason, I'll say you've dropped something. And they always look down and I say your manners. And then I'll leave. But apart from that, there's no point really. I'm not trying to be mean to women, you know. That's only extreme circumstances. It's more good for the students when they're like, she was so rude to me, you know, just so that they can feel they've got some line of defense. But really, if they're using the stuff we're teaching, it's just flowing really naturally. So it seems natural.
Confront women. You just need to socialize with them.
I mean, I'll give you one of my direct openers where I remember seeing this Russian in a club where we used to do loads of events when I was at PUA training, like 20 years ago. And we were running a place called Tiger. And
oh, fuck that place.
Yeah, it's horrible. But in 20 years ago, it was okay, right? But then after that, it just went. But we used to get a free room there. That was the point. We got a free room there. But the women in there were quite bitchy. And I remember there was this Russian woman, and she was very beautiful, right? And men would come up, and they wouldn't even get close. She'd be like, or swear, I could say, get off, and all this stuff. And so I went up to her, and before she said anything, I went, sorry, my shirt's wrinkled. I've just had sex. What's your excuse? And she went, and I went, shut your mouth. I can see your tonsils. That's really bad. And she's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Batman. Who the hell are you? Keep rejecting the guys coming up to you. They only want to say hi. So I thought you'd like that. You're in a social environment. Why don't you leave? Because obviously some of them are my students as well. And she was like, oh, well, you know, and she tried to explain herself and we were having a chat. Her explanation was this. Well, you know, I'm testing for guys that if they take my shit test straight away, I'm not going to be interested in them. I want a man to be a man. I'm Russian. I'm going to be a woman. And you be the man, right? So hence I used a direct opener on that. But that showed me a lot, you know, and we went over. It was, you know, rest of history. But on that, it taught me a lot. There was a light bulb moment that, you know, if you put up with shit tests, they're only shit tests. Shit tests can also be IOIs. So see a shit test as an IOI. Don't just insult the woman, right? See it as an IOI and then carry on with your game and see where you get with that. And you're going to have some shocking results. Things that times where you thought a woman didn't like you or was just being rude to you, she wasn't. She was just shit testing you.
Absolutely. I've seen that before. I had to deal with that before. It was so funny.
Yeah. Get the spanner in there. That's how Mystery does, you know, with the neg as well. He gets it in there before they can. Or, you know, Ross is really good at qualifying. Qualify them before they qualify you, you know? So get in there first. That's why the 3 criteria works, where it's really many criteria in that. But I just call it 3, not to overwhelm the person I'm chatting to.
What would your first steps be to help change your identity to someone who actually gets women?
For someone that already gets women?
Yeah.
What would be the first steps to do what?
So imagine a bunch of guys who probably haven't got laid in a year or two, at least. I don't know how it is for them exactly, but they lack social interaction, perhaps, or they're just getting into this, or they haven't had much experience at all. What are the first steps they can do to align their identity because they want to aspire to be someone who does get women? How do they align their identity to be someone who is more like the guy, the version of them who does get the women, rather than they maintain their identity as the person who doesn't?
So they're trying to maintain their identity but become really good with women. Is that what you mean?
Or it's not like they're changing their entire selves into like suddenly they're James Bond and that's not who they authentically are, but generally just to
well, that's where the supernatural game comes in, because you're learning all the pickup stuff, right? Which is a lot of it is by modeling someone else at the beginning, right? Modeling what they say, what they do, and so on. But then you got the natural side is where you're putting your own sort of gambits in, your own personality in, your own stories about you in, you know, and with your criteria. What are your 3 criteria? They might not be mine, but you can voice that to her. You can make your own up. So when you get good at speaking to women and you know the things that they say back normally to these responses, autoresponders, you can really build your own criteria up. You know, maybe you like a fashionable woman. Maybe you like a woman that makes you laugh. Maybe you like a woman that knows how to cook. You know, what is your criteria? Write them down and add that into your 3 criteria gambit. You know, dressing, it's, you know, you don't have to go totally crazy, but have 1 or 2 or 3 objects that stand out that she can comment on, that she can open you on, or when you're in set, you can talk about it. Oh, this is a family heirloom. My granddad gave me this, and this is a story where he what's that story where they hid the watch? You know, who's that actor? Oh my God, I can't.
Is there a movie or what?
Yeah, there's a movie where he hit the watch.
Oh, are you referring to Christopher Walken and
yeah, that's it. That's it. He
Fuck,
tells
what?
the story of the watch. It's an
It
amazing
like
story.
had
I would.
nothing to do with the movie it was in, but I think it was a Tarantino movie, maybe
That's right. Um, True
Pulp
Romance.
Fiction, or yeah, Pulp
Tr
Fiction,
tr
Gold Watch.
Pulp Fiction. That's
Yeah, I
it. Pulp
thought it was
Fiction.
Gold Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, have a cool story. Maybe you don't want to use that one. It's a bit, you know, gruesome. But you can use your own stories, you know. Like, for example, I nearly died in a plane crash that happened when I was flying out to Scottsdale. Mystery and I were doing a boot camp there. I think it was in November. And on the way, they had to land early in Montreal. And what happened is some woman was was sick on the plane. She'd had heart surgery. And they said, is there, and this something you never want to hear on a plane, is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor? Anyone, please come to the front. We have a sick woman. And I'm like, oh, they're going to land this plane early. And there happened to be 5 heart surgeon doctors on the plane. So they went up and they're obviously working on her. They're asking for a few other things. Anyone got a pen? And anyone got any nail polish remover? Now, I after time, I worked out that I guess what they wanted was the pen to put here for breathing or in some artery to release blood out of the, you know, when you hollow out a pen, you can make a pipe out of it. And then nail polish remover was to clean it so it wasn't dirty, right? Disinfect it. And then later on, they said, we're going to have to land early. No, within an hour, they said, we're going to have to land early. But another hour in, the captain came out and he's looking out the windows at the wings. And I'm like, what's that got to do? And he's taking pictures of them. And I'm like, what's that got to do with a woman having a heart attack and them operating on her and us landing early? So when we landed, we was queuing up to get our hotels overnight given to us because we're in a different country now. We had to get a plane the next morning. And in the queue, another woman said to me, oh, yeah, we saw fluid and weird stuff coming out of the plane near the wings. And then the captain was obviously coming up taking pictures of it. And what had turned out is the plane was losing fuel as well. The fuel cap wasn't on. That somehow, and the wings weren't working properly as well. There was loads going on. Yet we were lucky enough that we weren't over the ocean enough that we would have had to keep going. We'd have been really far out and we would have lost fuel and crashed or blown up in the air because there was fuel and, you know, could have sparked. So if that woman didn't have a heart problem, we would have never landed early and we could have all been dead, blown up. And also, imagine there were 5 heart doctors on there that even saved her life. So does that make you think that there's such thing as divine intervention? And that's the first thing I said as soon as I walked into our 12 students and mystery in the event when I got there a day late. And I'm never late. A day late, and they were all captivated by this story. And I used that story on the whole boot camp. Some of them were practicing it, and it went down a tree. And people were like, oh, no way. My skin's crawling and my hairs are standing up. So stories in your life you can use to good effect, especially true ones, you know. And yeah, I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent on there, but that would be the more using natural side of your stories that have just come up and in your next set, saying them. When I hear a good routine, I immediately go and say it to the next set because I want to practice it. I don't know if that answered your question because I even forgot the question.
We could probably skip it for more interesting one. It was about identity. So
that my identity, that was part of my identity that had just happened. My life was saved. Oh yeah, and at the end of the story I go, so nothing can get wrecked this day. I'm alive, you know. And so that's current emotional state also that you're adding into the story.
Yeah, it's some crazy shit. How do you frame the relationship so the girl is okay with you still doing game while having her as your main goal and even the potential mother of your children? And roughly what percentage of girls would you estimate to be okay with this?
God, that's a whole course there that you're asking. But in essence, yeah. So most of my girlfriends have gamed with me. I've also been in a throuple, so two girlfriends, me, and we go to a nightclub, and I'll be like, "You go that way. You got 10 minutes. You go that way, and I'll go this way." And we all meet at the meeting point and bring a girl back, and then we all invite them to an after party. And so that's a ruse. But if you go to certain places, some girls are are bisexual already, or open to you, or polyamory. So there's different versions of how you want to play the game. And I find that it's a way easier if they're already bisexual, obviously. But if they're not, you're going to have to take them out, show them how it's done, show them it's not creepy, it's not weird. Teach them pick up, not too much, but teach them pick up, and they become very adept. They realize it. They enjoy it. They get the dynamics of it. They get why it's important for men to approach women and build their confidence up, and always keep socializing. Even when you're in a relationship, you've got to keep the socializing up, because you never know what's going to happen. You could be dumped. You just never know in this world. So you have to seed it slowly and go out and just be social. Let's go and make some friends. You don't say we're going to pick up some women. Let's go and make some friends and be social. They'll get on with a girl. Like girls will best friend each other immediately.
Yeah.
Right. They start in rapport. They don't start in attraction. And they start in comfort. And so they can go, "Oh, you look so pretty. I love your handbag." And immediately they're best friends. And so then you can say, "Oh, let's go back." When you go back with her new friend, couple of drinks, or, playing some music, doing karaoke together, whatever you're going to be doing. And then slowly maybe they'll kiss, and then you'll end up having fun. You've all got something big in common. So, yeah, so that's the way to do it. Slowly is the way to seed it.
Would you say there are many women who are open to that kind of setup?
More than you think, and you have to be comfortable
Yeah.
in yourself. If you're not, then they're not going to be doing it because they think you're going to run off with it. So you can even have the chat at some point. Look, we're going to do this for fun. We're together. That person's just fun for the evening, the night, or maybe you get a third for a month, or a couple of months, or a couple of weeks that you have fun with. The third knows what the situation is, so she's not trying to claim you, And sometimes that turns into a third relationship, though, where there's three of you. So them girls go out on a date together. I think that's very important. And you go out on a date with them as well. Keep them secure. And in some relationships, you might go out on a date, which I've had, where you go out on a date with this one, then this one, and then they go out on a date together, and then you'll go out on a date as a free as well. So there's so many dynamics to it. I should probably write them down or do videos on it. Yes, you're right. But you have to get to that stage, and you're not going to get to that stage until you've really studied pickup and your history of pickup. And then you can go maybe slightly more into supernatural game. And that's why I have semi-recs. I'm a bit cheeky. I'm a bit more, "Oh, it's just Rob, So whereas if you're indirect, it's like, oh, it could be too serious that you're going to bring this out all of a sudden. And if you're too direct, you can come across as a sleazebag that just wants to shag every woman they see. So, I'd rather quality over quantity, in my personal opinion.
Makes a lot of
So
sense.
semi-rect is the way to keep it all nicely flowing.
Yes, you don't need much Viagra with that once you're already halfway there.
Hey, you can get away with murder. That's just Rob. Rob. He's been funny.
It's just him. Yeah, I feel that. What are the general rules for managing?
Yeah, don't make sex a big deal. Make it fun. Make it matter of fact, but make it fun as well. Don't make it, "Oh, should we do this tonight?" You've lost already, Just, hey, let's give this a try. Let's go make some friends.
What would you say the general rules are for managing multiple long-term relationships?
That's where the whole heap of stuff comes in. But, you know, just by being fun, trying new experiences, take them to new places. You know, if you lose too much attention. Another one is when you do get the third in, if you give that one more energy than your main one, then you're going to lose her. So it needs to be equal energy or more to your main one, right? She has to be having fun with that girl as well. She should be making the first moves, if everything. You don't make the first moves. They draw you into that move.
Is there a clever way to deal with AMOGing or cock blocking?
Oh, the double spin's good, by the way. If you high five them, a double spin, and then you kiss your girl, and then what is it? You double spin, and you push their heads together. They kiss, and then you kiss your girl, and then she grabs your head and pushes you on, or you do it, and you kiss the other girl like that, and then you push in together and do the freeway kiss. That's the freeway gambit kiss I use to full effect for many, many years. But that's what I find is the nice, smooth way into it all happening.
I see. Yeah, I done that before. It was funny. First time I did that, it was in I didn't do you for the way you explained that was like the long version. I just did the short version where it's just like we all just go in for the triangular kiss.
I've got a video doing it, but I need to blur every face.
Yeah, that's
I don't need to blur mine, but I need to blur their faces, and there's faces everywhere. So I'll do it one day, I'm sure. I'll put it out. Try and do that.
First time I did that, it was like 5 a.m. in the morning. And this was in London Underground. And there's just this woman who's like starting her shift. And she's like, what the fuck is going on over there? We're the only ones in the whole station. And it was just
brilliant.
That wasn't even the weirdest thing from from like that 24 hours. But anyway.
Well, what else happened where you can't say on camera?
I kind of told this story plenty of times before, but the super short version of it, in another underground station, one of them was grabbing my balls, like trying to rob me or something. That's what other people thought was going on, and the other one was just making out with me passionately, and I was just like, it's like very uncomfortable because my balls were being squeezed. I was like, I just want to wait for the fucking train. Damn it. And plenty of other shit. And then after they left the apartment I was staying in, it was hardly an apartment. It was like, because how London is, this was by Marble Arch. There was like a room that was divided with these wooden boards so the landlord could have like an extra room to rent out. And in the other room were 3 Italian guys. And because this was like some shit, temporary, not even temporary wall, but fake wall made of wood or some shit. There were like little gaps where you could technically kind of see through into the other room. So after that, I got rid of them and came back at like 7 a.m. or some shit. The Italian guys invited me in to celebrate because they could hear me. They could watch through the fucking wall if they want. I don't think they did, but they could hear everything from a few hours before. And they wanted to celebrate. And one came in with a plate, and on the plate was cocaine. And I'd never seen drugs in my entire life. And I was like, I am not getting into this shit. But I was like, what the fuck? Why are
Scarface?
It's like these Al Pacino right here with his fucking cocaine. 3 Italian guys doing cocaine. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? I just want to go to bed. And I was just watching them and just talking for a few minutes. And then I finally went to bed at like 9 a.m. There was more, but yeah, that's like the short version. Crazy time.
Crazy
I don't
night
do
then.
drugs or anything. Yeah, it was a weird one. Anyway, on to the next one. Is there a clever way to deal with AMOGing or cock blocking during night game?
Yeah, I mean, of course. One is if you befriend a guy, Why don't you just befriend the guy? You know, bring him in, show him. Like one that Mystery does is he teaches the karate coin snatch on the guy, the alpha guy, how to snatch a coin before you can grab it, and that and then you can show him how to do it afterwards. And so now he has a power. He's going to bring you in. Another one is go in with girls if you want to go girls, meet other girls, chat some girls up and go into that set. So it's the adjacent set. He's not going to blow you out if you bring girls in and just whisper in his ear, hey, I think this girl likes you. She mentioned you. And throw a girl on him so you can disarm him. If you're in set already, you can open a set over your shoulder, bring a girl in and disarm him. One is you can say, oh, if you want to get rid of the guy, you can use the wanted or needed. And the guy will always say needed and blow himself out for being needy. And you say wanted and you say why you want to be wanted. So, yeah, it doesn't really happen where a guy, it has happened, obviously, but it doesn't feel like it happens too much in my whole history of pickup because of the way I'm playing the game. You know, I'm playing it where it doesn't, a guy doesn't really want to try and AMOG me out there. He sees me as fun and entertaining, you know, and before he knows it, I've got one of his girls away. So, but you know, there's times where I've been sitting in a guy's seat and he's come up and go, hey, that's my seat. And I've pushed his seat away, you know, and go, oh, there you go. And then stayed in set in the circle of the group. And he's now my seat's over here. And he's standing behind me. And I gave him his seat back, but he's blown out the set. You know, if you're petty enough to come up and go, that's my seat, then I'm gonna give you your seat, but give you your seat outside the group, and I will stay there in the group. And I might say to one of the girls, "Oh, budge up a bit," and I'll just sit next to her instead, or do the stealing seat, old school stealing seat, where you nick the seat and sit in it, and go, "I can only stay a moment," and then you've got a seat, and it's a fun gambit. You must know that one.
Oh man, that's interesting.
Thanks for keeping it warm for me.
A few years back, this was before the pandemic, so you know it's a blur of time, but I was in some club with free female friends in Nova Scotia, and there were some guys with VIP. They paid for VIP like suckers, and they wanted to get the girls into VIP because we had the hottest girl in the whole club with us. And they had to cooperate with me because I'm the guy who's with them. And this guy was like trying to like whisk them away or whatever, but they wouldn't go because they're with me. So I say, take a photo of us first. And then he's obeying my orders. I'm being very direct about this. So I'm just like, take a photo of us. So he has to cooperate with me. He gets a few photos of us and they're pretty good. And then we all get the VIP bands and we go in. But it's just funny, the whole dynamic. Like sometimes they try to act tough, but they kind of have to especially they have to cooperate with you if you have the girls already, rather than yeah, this is more when it's a group of guys that don't have goals.
Oh, so you're on a
goals.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So
yeah, because there's the internal interrupt and the external interrupt, right? There's the right.
I see. Yeah, I never think about that difference actually, because I'm the one who already has them, as opposed to the other way. Let's find it.
Well, I live in the world of both occasions. You know, I'll either have my social circle or my wingmen, or I'm Lone Ranger. And you can learn from all of them processes. And you should do all them processes. But you got to start with cold approach. That's where it is. Start with it. Start on your own. Don't ask for wingmen. You will find them in field and you can grow your own.
How do you select a goal for the rest of the night once you get one that's completely invested with good logistics and everything else? Are you still gaming over goals at night? How do you decide which one to stick with?
Yeah, because I'm bouncing for like latest video I did. You can see I'm bouncing between loads of girls and it's an hour long. The video's not an hour long, but the camera was on for an hour, and I'm bouncing between loads of different sets, but I have my target, and then at the end you can see the bounce. But what I'm doing as well is I'm getting other numbers so that I can meet them at a later date. So you're working the room, getting lots of numbers for another time, or backup in case that one fails. And then you go home with the one you want. But by her seeing you being social and bouncing around other people, that's going to build attraction too. Jealousy plot line, leader of men, you know, it shows that you're a leader. Social, shows that you're wanted and not needed. And that I think that is a great art form, because you can invest your whole night sitting with one girl, and then she could just go, right, I'm going home now, bye. So I don't like that scenario. So I create my own scenarios. Lots of choice. Choice is the way forward. Abundance is the way forward.
100%. For people who live in a small city and are just starting to learn, what advice can you give on how to avoid getting the reputation of the weird guy haunting someplace and the possibility of acquaintances in your professional life finding out?
Unfortunately, the best advice, but I'll give you a secondary one after, is location, location, location. So you need to go to a busy city that has hot girls, not just a busy city, one that has hot girls, and hopefully equal amount or more than men, because some cities have more men and some cities have more women. And go there, even if you're going to hire an Airbnb for a weekend and pretend it's your house by putting up a picture of you and on the wall that you can carry with you in your suitcase and make it look, hey, I live here, look. Or just say it's an Airbnb, whatever you want. And
or just do both. Like, it's an Airbnb, but I decorated it according to how I want.
But I love a picture of myself on there looking cool. And that is actually my game plan. And so pick the right street with the right bars and clubs on it, or day game, whatever you want to be doing there. So the busy street, and then the right Airbnb. So location, location, location. That is so important. Like when we were in Russia, we had everything in one building. So Mr. and I were staying in the penthouse at the top where we were doing boot camp. And then one floor down was the shisha and cocktail bar, which did food as well, 24 hours. And then below that, there was a calf, which was also 24 hours. But people had to ring the bell and be let in. So they screened you. They did face control. You know, I do that with girls to invite them to parties. Are your friends cool? To invite them, because they, can only get the hot ones in VIP clubs. So your friends cool, you can invite them. And so we went in there. It knocked the time down by considerable amounts, because you would invite the girl in, you'd have a coffee, then you go to or straight to the bar. You'd have the shisha or a bite to eat, which I don't condone on the first date, by the way, and or a drink, and then you go, hey, come up and see the penthouse, and you take them up, show them around. So you literally get in the 3 stages. So 1 where you're meeting them outside, 2 where they're in the coffee shop, 3 where they're in the cocktail bar, shisha place, and then 2 up into the 4th one up into your room. So bounce, 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 bounce. It makes it really quick. They feel like different dates that you're on, and you're moving around, which is keeping it interesting and keeping stimulation going on the girl. So yeah, Russia was great. That was St. Petersburg on the main street. It was absolutely wonderful.
I'd love to go there.
Well, hopefully one day it will be open again for us.
Yeah, I'd love to go there. How important is inner game compared to outer game? It was mentioned in the book, The Game, that mystery had some serious ups and downs. So where does inner game come into all of this?
Well, I think by getting in mode, you can build your inner game. So just see it as practice. Just be going out there, and your outer game can fuel your inner game with successes. But if you're going there trying, I have to solve my inner game before I go out and approach someone, you're never going to get out of the house, or you're only going to be doing it half-assed. So I say build your outer game, and then obviously when you're home, you can listen to stuff on inner game moving forward on it. But really, your best bet is to be going out there opening sets. You have to open sets to get good at this. That's it. It's that simple. Practice makes perfect.
Alrighty.
Should we do 2 more questions and then I have to dash?
Yeah.
But we can do more. We can do more in the future. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
This is great.
Sure, for sure. I was just looking at this question here, like, should I save this for the panel or something? But yeah, I'll go for it anyway. What's your advice for guys who think they are too old to date hot young women?
False. It's totally false. I've dated all ages that, it's totally false. I find that there's a lot of women that like the mature guy, like a lot of women that like mature guy. They never really want to date guys their same age or younger, so it's not a problem. If you see it as a problem, though, they'll see it as a problem. You don't see it as a problem, right? Just keep chatting up them girls, keep opening sets, keep practicing your game, and you will be blown away with the results. And some people quit just right before they've made it. They seem to quit. And it's a shame. And a lot of people are too in their own heads about the age thing, So, don't let the wisdom lines slow you down. Don't let that happen. Game on. Keep gaming. If you see, and a lot of it is the age group seem too maybe vast, but you see a lot of people in the celebrities in the media, because they're the ones you hear about because they're celebrities. They're dating way younger women and having kids with them and long-term relationships with them. And, Leo's prime example. But they're the people you hear about. Imagine all the people you don't hear about that are doing it. So,
Yeah, a friend of mine.
It's not slowed. All the major pickup artists I know, they've dated younger women. So there you go.
Yeah. I'll even throw in an example. Just some random redneck guy. I became friends with him, but my female friend, who was maybe 26 at the time, or maybe even younger, she's into modeling and she's in pageants and whatever. And there's a lot of demand for her. She's genuinely attractive. And she was dating a guy who was at the time about 47 or perhaps even older. And she was like 26 or something. And yeah, I was really rooting for that relationship. I got to see the relationship because I was there for a good few weeks, hanging out with them. And yeah, it's possible, of course. So that's not a pickup artist, just some random redneck who became friends with me because I was already friends with her.
It's not that it's even possible. It's common. It's common. Now, most men that aren't dating women younger than them is because they're not going for it. They believe it can't happen. They don't believe they've got the power, and that's totally false. You start getting the real quality women from 30, but when you're 30 above, that's when it kicks in, because you're not seen as a child anymore in their eyes. You're a child all the way up to 29, 30 in their eyes.
Yeah, interesting. You know,
not always, but mostly.
I kind of see like maturity in females changes at around 25. So I was like, previously I was dating whatever, and then after that I was like, I don't want to go for younger than 25 anymore. It's kind of like I was still doing it, but yeah.
Also, their brain is still, it's stupid. They have like silly things that they like moralist, like not moralist, what's the materialistic.
Yeah.
There's certain things that they're into, and it's just like, and they start arguments a lot easier and so on. So yeah, like 25 and above is nice to have, but Leo goes for younger, doesn't he? So
I'm the anti-Leo on this one. Yeah, you know why it's more common than people think for older men to be with younger women because when you see them on the street, you think that's their daughter, but in reality, it's their girlfriend.
Right.
I'm just fucking around.
Yeah, that's probably true, you know. That's probably
Yeah,
true.
to some extent, yeah,
You
for
know,
real.
Rod
Or even a
Stewart.
mixture. Oh, you're $2? No, this is my girlfriend and this is my daughter. They're the same age. It's funny.
Rod Stewart, he likes tall blondes. Rod Stewart, the singer, if anyone,
Yeah, yeah.
people must know who he is. If not, Google
Legend.
it.
Come on, everyone's gonna know
Legend.
Rod Stewart.
I hope so. And then because it shows my age, almost. And then he likes tall blondes, and he's a short man. And every like 10 years, 15 years, he'll upgrade. He'll be like, not my words, but he would get a taller blonde who's a lot younger, and then he would have kids with her. So he got 3 different wives, 2 exes and 1 present, and they get taller. They're all famous models already, and then they all have kids with him. And I think he's just had a kid at like 74 or something with his latest one. So
Absolute
it
fucking
just keeps
rock star.
going. And Al Pacino, is it? He's got a younger woman, and had a kid with her recently as well. Bobby De Niro, he's also done that. So it's rife. It's rife out there. It feels to some degree, not too much of a disparity. It feels natural.
The fact that a man is still able to, at the age of even 100, have children is saying, well, if it works, keep doing it.
How did you know what age I'm going to have children at? You guessed it correct.
How far off are you? How old are you these days?
I am 47.
How the fuck did that happen? You look like you're 22.
Thank you. Pickup keeps you young. It definitely does. That's a theory, and I'm telling you, it really does. So if you're not even into trying to meet women and you are married, to practice socialize and game and pickup game just to keep younger, because it really does work.
Would you have kids
mind, body, and
in
soul
the future? Like you're 40.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, of course I would. Yeah, but I'll just start a whole football team all at once.
When you get can need a bus for that. Hell yeah.
Oh, I'll get a bus. Don't worry about it. I've always wanted to convert a bus. I think it's amazing. Driving around, there's these party buses in London. You must have seen them. And my friend owns one called the Vault, and it's like black, and it's got amazing sofas in it. It has a DJ, it has a bar, it's got seats, it's got a bed up the top in the corner. People can hire it out, right, for parties, events. But sometimes we just drive around in it, meeting people, inviting them on. There's already girls on there that we have. So it's amazing. And I would love to convert my own London double-decker bus into it. You'd have the longest limo in the city. Go, yeah, my limo's got 100 windows and 2 floors. What's yours got? So it's brilliant.
Stripper pole. If it doesn't have a stripper pole,
you can. Some have that. You could check it out. There's all these different converted buses you can get. They're amazing. I'd love to do that. Definitely. Tom had a van that he converted, that he had built for him inside.
So did Jeffy.
Pretty cool. And he traveled the world. Yeah, that's a different type of van, isn't it? And what he used to call it.
Let's not mention the name.
My bus would not be going down that route.
Taking it too far, goddamn. It's not the craziest thing.
Anything can go too far. You got to keep in the middle, remember.
When you live in San Francisco for too long, it's just not even surprising.
I've never been there. Never been to San Fran.
That's probably a good thing. Anyway, next, moving on. What kind of lines are you using to introduce a magic trick to demonstration to girls?
Yeah, I don't do mine too early on, and there's many years gone by where I've not used magic, but it's definitely way better using it. That is for sure. So if you learn 1 to 3 magic illusions, then you're laughing. Very powerful. What's my favorite one? My favorite one, I can't mention because I know Mystery won't want me to give any secrets out of it. So I won't. I just say it's levitation. But coin disappearing, a coin going through a plate, they're holding a plate or a metal tray, and there's 2 coins, and I put a cup on it, or I don't have to even, and I make it disappear through the bottom. I can make numbers appear on my arms while they're rubbing it, you know, that they're thinking in their head to mentalize, to guess it, things like that. So mental tricks are good. Mentalism, very good when you're guessing what they're thinking. So, you know, writing their prediction down and then guessing it and showing them, that's very powerful. I guess I don't have a favorite. There's so many routes to magic, just like pickup. There's so many routes to magic that you combine some as well. So there's misdirection, you know, telepathy, fire starting. There's loads of stuff you can do. So I can't give you one. I can't give you one. But yeah, I like coins. I like, you know, things disappearing, levitating. It shows you have superpowers. That's what it does. And then, for example, if you go to somewhere that's Russian speaking, they think you actually know magic when you show this. And maybe we do.
Oh, that's some good shit. I don't know any magic tricks, but it's a nice thing to have. Yeah, I'm ready
to get Mystery to show you one.
Yeah. I still
and now you can get them on your phone as well. It's great. You know, you can do all different stuff. There's so much to magic. It's very big. It's a very big subject. It's like pickup.
It's so a lot of people mistake like the magic thing is like everyone else who's a student in Mystery has to do magic. But Mystery explained it as it's kind of like something you can do to captivate the people around you. So if you could recommend, let's say, an alternative to magic, you don't have to learn magic. You could learn, I think Mystery said storytelling was a good example, actually. Is there like another version of storytelling or magic that you could give?
I'm not going to delve into the magic side. I'm going to leave that all to Mystery. Mystery is the magician. I want to leave it all to him. Remember, in field, we have magician archetype, or the wizard, if you want to call it, as well. You know, so I'm more playful, more fun type. That's my archetype. You know, a bit more cheeky chappy, cheeky man. So we have different archetypes, for sure.
I see.
Can you hear me? Did you lose hearing? I see you swapping
yeah, I switched.
Headphones.
I'm ready to wrap it up if you're ready to.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. If anybody wants any free stuff, attractionunleashed.com is the site that Mystery and I duel on. Yeah. And people can ask me questions there. But I'll definitely come back on and do more with you. So that was a good chat. And I like that you like the history. So I'll think of some good past stories for you for the future, ones you've never heard of.
We got a lot to talk about.
I'll grab some out of my files, my book files.
Yeah. For the guys watching, I think it will be a great idea to have Beckster back combined with Ross Jeffries, maybe like a special opportunity to have a dating coach panel episode. Just the 2 guys doing some we'll cover some NLP questions and stuff along those lines. I think there'll be a nice little reunion between Beckster and Ross. So put that in, go crazy in the fucking comments.
I do speak to Ross still, though. We do video.
Oh, really?
So but yeah, no, we're good friends. So yeah, no problem. And then I'm sure Mystery and I should come on and do a dual chat about our experiences and traveling the world for the last 16 years as well. So yeah, it'd be cool. A good old union, the old schools.
We'll get some old school versus new school debates in there.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
show these youngsters how it's done.
Just remember the principles, that's all. Oh, there's no school like the old school. But yeah, man, thanks for having me on. It was great. And we'll speak soon. If you need anything, let me know.
No worries. Great having you here. Thanks for jumping on.
No problem. It's been emotional.
Drop your comments in the comments, obviously. Drop your questions in the comments. If you got more questions you would love to ask Beckster in future, drop them in the comments. You guys know how I am with these comments. I look at every single one of them that I can find and I put them in my question files for future episodes. So go fucking crazy with that. Catch you guys on the other side.
Take care. Laters.